welcome back, one and all. I'm not just adding to this time around, I'm actually re-recording it. So, as a heads up, you might very well see bits and pieces here and there with additional gloves of different colors, like all black or all red. Because I got medium size in, and I got to tell you, snugger fit make for a happy, magical boy. Also, you're going to hear off to the left my kettle going on and off, on and off. You see, a dear friend and subscriber of the channel gave me, oh my god, levels of oolong tea from China. Thank you, Kuma. In fact, forget it, we'll have a sip now. Oh. Throaty, swallowy sounds. Okay, so we're ready now. We're back to it, right? Yes, awesome. These are the polarizingly wonderful Shuoer tapes. And after much digging, and thanks to Armchair, go check him out, Armchair Audiophile, and another, god damn it, fucking LP shit, fuck, okay, the remote is back now, and another reviewer, Into It Reviews, I believe? We have talked, and specifically Armchair, AA, dude, you're like my AAA. A damn good friend of the channel. A very, very smart young lad. Only slightly younger than I. And he's been like David for me. A boon to come talk to about uber nerdy shit about. Whereas Dave, he's kind of like my moral and ethical compass. Both are amazing friends I'm glad to have made. Even if it was only for the fact that I became a reviewer. But due mostly in part to Armchair, I'm re-recording this review. I had added on, and I'll be honest out of the gate. I want to give these the go. I want to sell you these. Yes, no, yes, they're actually that good. I really, really wanted to sell you all on these. But there are issues. No, not specifically with the driver, actually. It seems almost all of those issues are biased entirely around the MMCX connectors and how they were never designed for personal wearable equipment. They were designed for analytical use, laboratory use, or use with, side note, if that kettle boiling gets annoying while I'm editing this video, I'll just be very careful to not have it on in the keep warm function. Or get a much better one that has a pump built in. Those are fucking expensive, too. Just bought that damn thing, and I'm already considering replacing it. Right, I digress. MMCX was never meant to be used this way. There are iterations of MMCX where, yes, you will never see an issue. You will never have a problem with wavering connections to where the topography of the socket, or the topography, or maybe I should say geometry of the jack won't matter nearly as much if it's slightly under par. But unfortunately, in this particular case, it does. And as with Armchair, these are pretty much either married to the stock cable. With him specifically was a triple win, I believe, or Yin Yu. They both have the same OEM, or the same manufacturer, so they use damn good MMCX jacks, I must say. And yes, I'm an audiophile drinking tea, and not coffee. I love my coffee, but good oolong tea is goddamn expensive. It was a gift, and oh my god, I'm like a white girl lusting after the pumpkin spice latte when it comes to really good tea. So, Becky, the tea's on. Ugh, God. Ugh, I felt a little dirty with that one. Right. So, all of that aside, and the music in the background is courtesy of Monster Cat. I have their gold thing and my channel linked to it, so a lot more of my videos will have that music in the background, and I'll try and mix up the genres over time. But the fact that I can eventually, if I get to that point, monetize my videos still while still having background music while recording off of, the microphones, because why not? I think it'd be nice to hear the audio actually being recorded from a microphone rather than me just tossing it in. It's almost too clean. Removes, like, the studio, air quotes for those of you just listening, delivery. Makes it a bit too clean, So let me know in the comments below. Below. Good to know the speech impediment's still good. As with this, and the... As with this and the Blonde BL03, God, I hope I edit that out. If not, I'm just going to repeat myself a little bit. I've written some notes. Lovely, right? Oh God, I just realized the ISO is like, fuck you high. There we are. So, yes. I've written some notes. I've done a bit of testing. These are not the stock tips. We'll start with tips. I've already given you the go, no go, so realistically, if you're only in here for that, then that was an easy 6 minutes of your life, wasn't it? The tips they come with are awfully similar to the... except for the biflange. But they are awfully similar to the ones you would get with the Blonde BL03s. And I'm a little disappointed that more companies don't pay attention to tips, because I know you see my box of many tips here. I have found approximately 3 to 4 tips, depending on your preference. The first tips are these weird, extra squeegee, I don't know, maybe gel form, mostly gel, silicone tips that I got on the... You can get them on the guide rays, some of the guide rays. Seems like every Shawzy IEM has a set. Different colors, black or white. The Form 1.1s, these are them. The guide rays I got from Kuma, those have a set of white ones as well. And the black ones were on the... Shit, what were they on? Oh, the Form 1.1s. The white ones were the Shawzy Neo CP. Ha! I'm a dum-dum. There are also some ALX or ALCD TWS for the Jabra Elite tips that work really well. They make a freakishly good seal, but man, they are the stiffest fucking silicone I've ever used. These, I've seen them all over the place, and I do believe that Moondrop sells a set. They are the ones with the anime girls, right? Very similar. They have a nice little ridge. And I'll link below the ones that I specifically bought, so if you find them cheaper, you're more than welcome to try them out, because they might be virtually the same, but for $15 for a pair of small, medium, and large, I got to say I'm quite happy with them. They make an insane seal, enough to where it pisses off the driver with how hard I have to push it in sometimes. So that's another point of contention. If you're using and abusing these, rather than treating them like an indoor device, if one side gets really quiet and you unplug and replug the MMCX and it's still a bit quiet, give it a little suck in action. I know it sounds gross. Just wipe off the tip or pull the tip off and give it a little suck. And what will happen is you're kind of just pushing the driver back into place, because, fun fact, these are a dual driver. I was wrong. It's an electret, which is still basically an electrostatic, but it works off of a slightly different principle. Or different methodology, but similar principle, I believe, might be the right terms. So, still electrostatic, but it has a dynamic behind it. Thanks to Armchair for pointing that out on the Amazon listing that actually had things labeled, so I wasn't guessing. Yeah, it works damn fine. So, that in mind. Other than that little issue of giving it a little bit of a suck-suck. Thank you for letting me know you're shutting off. You put it on, and the interior ribs latch onto it. The downside I've noticed with this is the more you close this off, either the more shouty or the more rolled the treble becomes. And if you're using this on something that doesn't have a mid-hump, yes, there is a really good reason to use these on the LGV series and even G series that use the ESSA for quote-unquote air DACs. Quote-unquote air quote DACs, right, sorry. Or the SMSL SU8 version 1, which also has a mid-hump. Make them sound extremely Harmon-esque. I mean, extremely. I was almost arguing it on just pounding this thing in with another person. My dear German buddy. Xi? Z. I will call you Sample. Sample Man. The German Sample Man. We both kind of agree that it's somewhere in between the mids, even though they are very hellishly recessed, are somewhere in between Harmon and V. On an AKM with a very clean, bright amp, such as the Radstone ES100, which we'll be getting a review before I send it out to David. It's a very bright sounding device, and I'm quite addicted to it. Now that I can really hear the differences between the two, it'll go from Harmon-esque, or a weird hybridization between Harmon and V, to a very fucking V-shaped sound. Like, really V. But now that you've screamed to get on with it, see that little action I did there? I just kind of rolled it from the inside out. There. Now, with that in mind, these are a well-fitting IEM, I will say. A little too well in some cases, like with the ALCD or ALCX tips. I might remember to link them below. They worked, but I didn't really super enjoy them. But they were one of the few silicone offerings that could do this ultra flush fitting, which I'm becoming also very addicted to on many of my other IEMs. But really wide sounding. It could be shouty and harsh, and with the mid-recession on something that doesn't compensate naturally, such as a DAC with a mid-hump, they can come off as almost hollow-esque, just due to the mids being so severely rolled. It never really bothered me, because the level of detail, even on the recessed mids, in the treble region, the amount of detail is fucking bonkers. Holy shit, it's fucking bonkers. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. I realize another reviewer compared these straight to stacks. I ain't got stacks, but I have 95X from Koss. And those are damn good headphones. I'm sorry I'm not calling them ear speakers. The fucking headphones. You wanna put a speaker over my ear? Attach a speaker to my head and literally just hold it next to my ear. That's an ear speaker. Anyhow. So I actually have a real electrostatic headphone to compare them to. And how do they compare? Fuck yeah, they compare. That Electret, again, it's not like a bastardization, such as planar, which is based off of the principle and methodology of the electrostat, but executed very differently. The Electret is essentially, for all intents and purposes, an electrostatic driver, just somewhat different. The detail on this is insane. The level of micro details is borderline addictive, and to be able, even in a well-recorded, well-mixed and mastered song, to hear a pick grabbing and skipping and grabbing and skipping and hitting the next rib on a guitar string, and it's not even a friggin' acoustic song, it's fucking heavy metal. I'm not gonna lie, that gives me kind of an audio chode. Yeah, proper stiff and happy. Okay, filthy shit aside. It really, no, yeah, it full on gives me audio euphoria. The audio file, the file part of audiophilia. I'm sorry, this might be some TMI and some weird grody shit for some of you, but I was sporting an audio chode. Not full on, going the mile, but I was getting some seriously, awesomely sick pleasure off of that level of detail for things I've never heard before, and it's a euphoria that once you hear it, I'm sorry, you're probably going to agree that there's some amount of kind of dubious pleasure from it. Really. And to that end of the detail, if all you can get is the stock tips, for the love of God, find something different. They're gonna be shout. They're gonna be uber angry. Even at louder volumes. With the tips that I have used, including, regular memory foam tips, I don't find it's an issue. Regular memory foam tips pull away all that, but they also pull away the shout and the intense treble and bolster the already mind-meltingly insane bass. But they also pull away some of the treble-oriented micro details. And whereas you would think it would bolster somewhat the micro details within the midsection, not as good as a mid-hump having DAC, or an amp that embellishes the midsection. The bass is bass. It's like, this is LFE tactility approved. This, if you get these, the way these are tuned bass-wise are almost 100% bass nirvana for me. It's essentially what the true bass does from the Zendak. It's got oomph, girth, thump, slam, and just, ugh, God, the bass on it makes me a happy, magical boy. Very happy, magical boy. If it weren't for the fact that it rolls down in the upper lows into the valley that is the mids. But I digress. I just can't seem to not hammer that point in, because it is upsetting that I almost put out a good review for these, or I should say a faulty review for these, due to the DAC. And it leading me horribly, horribly astray. But the level of detail on these is astounding. These are a semi-open back. I have closed these off and pumped some sound through them. And even with good foam sealing tips, these things have insane isolation. These little TWS foamy tips have great isolation. Sound still leaks in and out. Admittedly at higher volumes, probably beyond what you'd be comfortable listening to, depending on if you're a volume whore or not. But yes, the details are there, along with an impressively wide stage. Wider than I was expecting to hear, because I just thought these back grills were predominantly aesthetic. Nope, they do some shit. They definitely do some shit, for sure. Not the widest of the wide, but God, I dare say, these damn near come across as a cheaply built semi-open back headphone in terms of width. For the treble region, the imaging and the accuracy of the delineation sounds really above average. Not the best I've ever heard, but significantly above average, damn near stellar. Same for the mids. The bass, where the dynamic driver takes over, seems to lose a little bit of its definition. But overall, even with the mid-recession, the overall clarity of the delivered sound is quite nice. There is a very clean separation between the bands, and it's a relatively smooth, if not for the way, the sheer level of the different frequencies or different bands that it puts out, being jarring to some more seasoned audiophiles. But the transition still, it's crossed over very well. The imaging in the treble, though, where the electret takes over, especially in the probably the upper mid-range, if I'm not mistaken, where that takes over, yeah, I was hearing some stuff in the weird type of music that I listen to that's just all over the place. All over the place. They create a very wonderfully, admittedly, small room. But not small. Not teeny tiny itty bitty baby. It's got a bit of a girth to it. So very interesting. So we've talked about the highs. We've talked about the recessed mids. Vocals. Yeah, vocals come across very nicely, very clearly. Again, they take a back step, a back seat to first the treble and then the bass, which can be annoying. It can throw off the placement of things. So I wouldn't say that the stage overall is accurate in placements, but the imaging delineations where things are moving around tends to be relativistically accurate, to my ear, and from what I understand on how to test for that. These are an addiction. Honestly, a strange little addiction. They take to cable rolling really well, but the stock cable's just fine. Silver works, but it tends to overemphasize the highs. The highs on a really busy track tend to come off as too busy. It's trying too hard, and it can sort of homogenize the sound. So if you're listening to some of that J-pop type stuff, or the Japanese electronica, or just anything that's ultra busy in the treble region, so the upper, even as far as the upper mids and above, it can come off as kind of homogenized. Which leads me to the resolution. The separation of the bands within each and every band is typically fucking stellar. Even with the bass, it may not be the best dynamic driver they're using, but they're using a good one as far as I can tell. And it shows. The resolution, the separation, the micro details. Like I said before, they're all there. They're all spectacular, stellar even. The best buy in the price bracket? Probably not. But you're getting your money's worth, so long as the MMCX doesn't shit on you. The airy bits, not the air as in the treble air, but the airy, throaty, breathy bits of vocals come across great. The bass is the only thing that can be sloppier than homogenized. It still separates well. It still has damn good resolution and definition to it, and very nice, clean clarity across the board. But just like with the treble region, when the bass region's getting hammered a little too hard for its comfort, it can come off a bit homogenized and begin to bleed. Begin to bleed at that point, yeah. But if you're listening to something that's well mixed, well mastered, well recorded, not overly loud, which is a lot more music than you might be thinking about. It's kind of surprising. These things open up and become an entirely different beast, of which I am completely and totally addicted to. So it's been a good bit of the video. Can I recommend these? Yes. Yes, I can recommend them. Just the fact of the way that they sound that they do. If you get lucky, and yours don't have an issue, or you buy from a reputable place that's willing to send you a replacement if yours comes out bad. Yeah. Even with the, I actually forgot to mention, even with the potential for climate, such as humidity, and temperature sensitivity, such as my good German buddy Sample, having issues with the extreme cold and the very humid place that he lives, or at least his domicile being very, very humid, but also the near 0 degrees Celsius, so well into the freezing range for moisture. These might be an indoor-only kind of thing, and you may need to put them with some silica gel to keep them nice and dry. But still, surprisingly, yes, I can recommend them, if only for the way they sound, but I will not give them the not go out and buy them type of recommendation. The type of recommendation if you're looking to see, and I'm going to get some hate for this, if you're looking to see what Stax are like, because I have a pair of real electrostatic headphones. I'm sorry if you're a Stax elitist and you say that the COS ESP95X don't count as electrostatic. Bringeth thy balls so that I might kick them back where they belong, you juvenile twat waffle. Stop being an elitist. Don't be an audio cunt. Be an audiophile. Be like me, an audio freak. It's still electrostatic. This is an electret and a dynamic driver. This will tell you, if you really want to go into the TOTL line of things, like the ever wonderful Stax, as bloatedly priced as they are. This gives me the type of detail that I'm looking for out of my COS ESP95X. So, yeah, they got electrostatic like. Big ass air quotes here. Electrostatic like levels of detail and detail retrieval and all that other good fun stuff we've covered. This will tell you if you really want to jump in and get yourself the big boy set, or the real big boy set, or any other electrostatic style in-ear monitors, which do exist. Tone King has a set that I have my eye set on. But I dare say, and this may give me a lot more hell, this is a really awesome example for the neophytes, or for those of us that haven't experienced the really high-end TOTL devices, or top-of-the-line devices. I have yet to hear the levels of detail retrieval. Admittedly hollow-esque. The mid-recessed hollow-esque type of hollow being taken into account. How sloppy and homogenized they can become when pitted up against insanely busy and punishing tracks. They still, in my mind, would offer a really good understanding, a beginning, a gateway drug to top-of-the-line or TOTL systems. Because these are working overtime. To describe them in short, I put it rather eloquently. There. Ethereal, ephemeral, phantasmal, but most of all, effortless. They just make sound happen. And these are the kind of qualities that I hear from other really high-end items. But these get the not really go unless you're very impatient about my reviews, in which case join the Discord. I always give sneak peeks to everyone on the Discord that's paying attention and listening, and if it's really important, I ping you, every one of you. Especially if it's, like, really important. But there exists a similar configuration in a bullet-style IEM using 0.78mm 2-pin configuration called the Shuoer Singer. That is on my oh shit gotta get list. And I'm going to pit them against these. Oh, excuse me, hiccup. I'm going to pit them against these and see how well they fare. Here's the kicker. They're like 80 or 90 bucks versus like 130. Saving some big boy bucks there, in my opinion. That's a night out in the town, baby. Okay, maybe just a night out. Not the town, but a night out. For a similar, if not virtually the same, configuration, but not open back, and using 2-pin? That one might be a go. Alright. I do believe we are done here. I'm satisfied with this recording now. Thank you, Armchair, for tossing? Damn it. Talking some more sense into me and having me come back and redo another review. As David says, honesty is the best policy, and I didn't feel I was being dishonest with my last recording, but I didn't feel like I was being honest with them, the IEMs. I wasn't doing them justice, and that's not fair. These are a damn good set. They have their issues, their caveats, as everything else does. But I had to come back. I had to do it again. I had to be happy with myself. That's why I take so long to do reviews. I need to first and foremost be happy with myself, because then I know I'm doing a good job for all of you, my dear children. Feel free to do the things many others will ask you to do. We've well gone past 300 subs. Congrats to us. I may not be doing anything special for it. Not planned. Not unless I get a big outcry for something special to celebrate the fact that we've hit 300 subs. Definitely something when we hit 5. Really something when we hit 1,000. Ooh, that'll be good shit, won't it? But with all that being said, have a beautiful morning, a wonderful afternoon, and a lovely evening. Rest well, my children. Rejuvenate your bodies, soothe your souls, and may you travel far and wide within the realm of your dreamscape. So long as it leads you back to me, your favorite, the great wizard, Farsil. And now that I'm loaded up with some of the best oolong tea I've had in a damn long while, and I think we're ready. Okay, say it with me, kids. Ready, set, and